It is safe to be you. It is safe to be you. It is safe to be you. Welcome, sacred sovereign soul, and blessings. I am Lady Drasmin, and this is Dragon Oracle, and this is the weekly live here on TikTok, checking in on the energy, what is coming up for the collective. And that message that I just shared 3 times, it is safe to be you, kept coming up for me in meditation over the last few days, and feels very important to share with the collective at this time. So we are about to go into Venus retrograde, okay? Venus retrograde is going to bring up all those things around your heart, around your finances, around your commitments that you have been avoiding or neglecting. It's all going to come full front, and you're going to have to look at it, okay? And whatever comes up, it is safe to be you. It is safe for you to express your needs. It is safe for you to express your boundaries. It is safe for you to express your desires. It is safe to be you. Feeling a card from the Reiki, this Reiki Oracle deck here. So let's see what wants to come through. This one, discipline, okay? Discipline is coming up. Okay, so, all right. There was a second message that was coming through as well, on top of the first channeled message, which was, it is safe to be you. Hi there. Thanks for the likes and the comments. Thanks for joining in live. So deeply appreciate your presence here. And the second message that was coming through for the collective is, face your shit. Okay? Face your shit. Last week, the collective message was clean up your shit, right? Like clean it up. Look at your denial. Look at your delusions. And I feel like it's a similar message, but deeper. Like really look at it, okay? Last week it was just like cleaning it up, just like, okay, prelim swipe down, right? Now it's like really look at it. Face your shit, okay? And with this discipline card coming out here, what I'm getting is, really look at those cracks, so to speak, in your daily routine where you are not in alignment, right? You're like, oh, I'm just going to look on the phone, social media for 5 minutes, and then it's an hour and a half. Oh, I'm just going to watch 30 minutes of this episode, and then it's 2 hours later. Oh, I'll do my dishes later. Later comes, you don't do your dishes, right? Look at where you are not in integrity with yourself. Look at where you are running away from your responsibility because of what comes next, right? Oh my gosh, if I do my dishes, that means like my house is clean and people can come over, and oh my gosh, I don't know if I want people to come over because my couch is all tore up and I need to, take those cushions and sun them, and there's shame and stuff that's coming up. Face it. You gotta face your shit. Get clear on where you are not being in mindfulness of those little leaks and cracks in your everyday life, okay? Because that's going to help you really hone in on your personal power of owning your shit, but more importantly, expressing yourself, right? When you own your shit, then you absolutely are in your full authority and power to make requests and sometimes demands from the people around you. You know what? I'm going to the gym 5 days a week and you're not. So this isn't working anymore. Things like that. So it's like, you got to really look at yourself right now. You got to really look at where you are bypassing your personal responsibility. We have Venus retrograde coming up, okay? So Venus retrograde is a time when a lot of relationships, quote unquote, end. But usually relationships that end in Venus retrograde end up coming back together. The reason a relationship ends during Venus retrograde is because it's coming up to the surface all the things that you are not facing. Okay, and instead of facing your own stuff, you start projecting on your partner, on your friendship. And it's not just intimate relationships, right? But that's the relationship that you are most invested in, so to speak. Okay, so look at where you are projecting and creating expectations of others that you are not setting yourself to. Like you are holding other people to standards that you're not even at that standard, right? Like you're expecting your partner or whoever to do certain things for you, but you're not doing them for yourself. You're not doing that for them, right? And so that can lead to projections, which leads to fights. Things reach a boiling point, then you break up, and then, you know, things cool down, and you're like, oh, I don't know what was happening. And, you know, there's this like misconception that Venus is all about love, right? But if you're a lover, you're a fighter, meaning you're going to fight for what you love, okay? There's this, I don't know, I think there was somebody who was like, you're either a lover or a fighter. No, you're both. Because when you really love something, aka yourself, okay, you're going to fight for yourself. You're going to fight to have your needs met, to have your boundaries honored, to have your desires to a point met, right? And I don't mean fighting in like fists up, knives out, guns, you know, we're gonna go shooting at sundown. I mean fight in the sense of standing in your integrity, standing in your truth, standing in your empowerment, standing in your sovereignty, really looking at, are these thoughts, are these desires, are these needs coming from me and not societal expectations, not what I was raised to believe, not what I was, you know, programmed to expect, but is this reality for me, okay? Venus retrograde is a time when exes can sometimes come back into the picture, right? So you really need to be owning your shit to take responsibility for who, you know, if that comes up for you, because going back into the familiar is what the nervous system will gravitate to. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. Your nervous system will gravitate towards a familiar hell over an unfamiliar heaven. Why? Because that's just what it's used to. Okay? So just because you're used to something doesn't mean it's healthy for you. Okay? Yeah, you're used to binge watching TV for 4 hours after you get off work because that's what's easy. That's what's comfortable. You know, you're tired. You just got done working. You just want to sit there and just zone out. Is it really the best choice for you? Or can you split up that time? Okay, I'll spend an hour on TV, and then I'll do an hour of a workout. I'll do an hour in meditation, and then I'll do an hour of working on my passion project. Boom. Now you have owned your shit, and you have created more soul-aligned discipline for yourself, okay? So insecurities come up during Venus retrograde, okay? Insecurities, where you are at with your worth, where you are at with your esteem, okay? These are key things that are going to be coming up. So Venus retrograde is a really good time to reflect on your relationships and your self-worth, right? Like, do you hold on when it's better to let go? Okay? Are your partnerships healthy or are they one-sided? Are you seeking validation from others or are you accepting yourself as you are? Okay? The other part of Venus retrograde is money. Okay? Money, money, money. Money, money, money. Money. Okay? So like spending can sometimes go off the rails during a Venus retrograde, and that's because you are escaping from your responsibility of owning your shit, right? You're like, oh, I'm just not going to take care of this. I'm just going to go, you know, buy something. Oh, instead of fixing the broken lamp, you're going to go buy another lamp. Okay? So it's important to just be mindful of making big investments and spending a lot of money during Venus retrograde. I'm not saying don't go shopping. I'm saying just be mindful, okay? Venus retrograde is also going to really help you, create space for you to look at your relationship with money. Okay? Is it something that flows easily through your life, or do you hold on to it because there's still scarcity that needs to be cleared out? Okay? Are you budgeting wisely. Okay, discipline also goes into budgeting, right? And budgeting is about creating structure, right? Creating structure for where you invest your time and energy, right? That's what a budget is. A budget is meant to create structure so that you have a strong foundation and you have a safety net for a rainy day. A budget is not meant to restrict you. A budget is meant to support you. Okay? I've been reading this book called The Richest Man in Babylon. And it's been really helping me heal my relationship with money. I've also been following Taylor Eaton on YouTube. I highly recommend her channel. And, you know, between this book and this really incredible tarot reader who is the author of the Wealthy Woman Oracle, which is on my wish list, hint, hint, if anybody wants to support me getting that. But, you know, I've been working with her teachings and her guidance for the last few months. But one of the teachings that I received in the book, The Richest Man in Babylon, is 10% of all you earn is yours to keep. But the other, so like, you might be like, well, I don't know if I can do that because all my money goes to bills, right? And he talks about that too. And he says your ability to, your desires will expand to the space that you give them to, okay? So if you only use 90% of all that you earn, then automatically you'll start noticing the shift in your life where your expenses will fit that 90%, and then that 10% is yours to keep, to invest in a way that creates more wealth for you, okay? So that same principle can be applied to your life in the sense of, look, 1:11 on the clock as I say that, and 11 people here on the TikTok, fucking awesome. So you look at where you are giving too much space for certain desires that aren't actually needs, right? You're giving too much space for a certain habit. You're giving too much space for a certain relationship. And so they're just going to fill that space. But if you restrict that space, if you cultivate that discipline within yourself and say, no, this person, this situation, this habit, this thought, this fill in the blank, this money is only going to this, this, and this, then your budget will naturally create itself. You feel me? You feel me? Okay, let's get some tarot and see what else comes through. Okay, another thing that I got through is look at where you tie your self-worth to how much money you make. Ooh. Look at where you tie your self-worth to how much money you make. Knight of Swords, okay? Flipped over in the deck as I was saying that. Yeah, and cut that shit, right? Your self-worth is not tied into anything other than the fact that you exist, and that is enough. The fact that you make money, fucking amazing, right? But that's going to change and fluctuate whether you make money or you don't make money or how much money you make. That's just going to ebb and flow, right? So you don't want your self-worth, your sense of esteem, your sense of pride to be tied into how much money you make or how much you do for someone else, because as that ebb and flows, your sense of esteem and worth is going to ebb and flow, and that's not healthy. That's not a healthy relationship with yourself. Your self-esteem and your worth is like a fucking pillar, and everything else revolves around it. It's not like this. Okay, this, it's your core. Can you imagine if your spinal column was like just like a wiggle worm? You wouldn't be able to walk. Okay, so think about your self-esteem and your sense of worth like your spinal column. It's got to be fucking straight, rock solid, okay? You can't have kinks in there. You can't have slip discs in there because it's going to throw off your entire fucking equilibrium, okay? Oh, that was deep, y'all. Okay, yeah, Freddie, thanks for the follow. Thanks for all the likes. Chill, thanks for the follow. Appreciate y'all. Tarot card, 9 of Cups. Look at what brings you pleasure and fulfillment and focus more of your time and energy on that, right? And there's a word of caution here, right? Like, yeah, of course, binge watching TV. I don't know why I keep coming to this. Maybe some of you are like seriously needing to like stop binge watching television, okay? Because I don't really watch TV. Like, I watch an episode and sometimes I don't even finish the episode at the end of the day with my beloved. But most of the time I just read or I stretch and meditate. So like, not like, okay, yeah, coming home and watching a cute movie or show is like really is a way to decompress, right? It brings you joy. But then there's a certain point you reach where now you're just disassociating, right? And so that's what that fine line is. That's why you're at the 9 of cups. You're not at the 10 of cups. Like, yeah, you're doing things that bring you pleasure and joy, but it's not rooted in your soul. And so look, you need to look at your feelings, the moon card at the bottom of the deck, and face your feelings, okay? Like this Venus is like, in Aries right now. Venus does not like being in Aries because Venus is a lover and Aries is the fighter, right? But if you're a lover, you're a fighter, right? So there's like this energy of like being so passionate about being heard and being validated and being seen. And that's why arguments are going to come up or could potentially come up in relationships if you don't have a healthy and strong foundation with your partner, with your kids, with your family, with your community, with your business mates, whoever. Relationships are not just romantic, y'all. Okay, look, 10 of Wands. It's time to put down the burdens of perceiving that it is not safe to be you. It is absolutely safe to be you. You just might be in an environment that isn't safe for you. You just might be surrounded by people that are constantly nitpicking and, teasing and mocking, okay? And there's this thing in today's world that really gets my goat, okay? Where people use humor as a way to deal with their feelings and their problems. And there's a healthy humor, absolutely, to be able to laugh at ourselves and be lighthearted and not take things so seriously. But sometimes it's not fucking funny to laugh when somebody's vulnerable and upset, or to make jokes about it, or to just like bypass it with a sarcastic comment. OMG, yes, right? So you have to really look at, are these people really being nice when you're in a vulnerable place? Or are they just being like pedantic, immature children assholes because they don't know how to deal with their own fucking feelings? Cut that shit out. You know what? Bye. Okay? Like, I want to be around people who encourage me, who support me, who empower me. I just recorded another episode for Tree Talks, the podcast that I'm co-hosting with my dear soul sister, Dr. Iris. It's on my Substack and it's also on Spotify. Most of the episodes are part of a paid subscription. It's only $11 a month, y'all. Join me. Just show your support for me and your love for trees. But anyway, we were talking about how, God, where was I going this? Oh yeah, how you like, today's topic was about vulnerability, right? And how like it's so much easier sometimes to like share our heart and our thoughts and our deep desires and dreams with strangers over friends, because like sometimes our family or friends aren't very nice about, what we're sharing with them. And they're like, oh, you're being too sensitive, or grow up, or you know what? You shouldn't feel that way. They say things like that, or oh my gosh, are you still talking about this like 5 years later? Like, first of all, only you get to decide when you have completed processing an experience and emotion. Now, I have a boundary with my friends. Like, I will hold space 3 times, and then boy, girl, you need to get your ass in therapy. Book a session, okay? Because that's my way of respecting my time and energy. And also it protects me from constantly being the counselor to my friends, because I do counseling for a living. Like, I'm an intuitive counselor. I do shamanic therapy and healing for people, right? So I've had to learn my healthy boundaries around where am I a friend and where do I slip into the role of counselor and elder. And I'm absolutely happy to hold counsel for my friends and my sisters, but I have that limit with myself, right? Like, okay, you get 3 times and then we're not fucking talking about this anymore. You need to fucking deal with it. Deal with your shit. Okay? So yes, Peggy, I will be doing free personal readings here after I do the collective message. So thank you for your patience and for being here. Appreciate you asking. Mimi, wow, needed this today. Yeah, so this is the collective energy, right? Take the message as it resonates. It's going to apply to your situation differently, okay? So thank you for the gifts, everyone. Page of Swords, cut that shit. It's time to it's time to own your shit. And it's time to cut out the people in your life that are not encouraging you, that are not empowering you, that are not holding space for you. The other thing that came up earlier with Dr. Iris on the Tree Talks podcast was like, yes, it's so much easier to express to a stranger. But the other part of that, like, it's, oh God, where was I going with this? Help me, angels. It's completely a blank. It's completely a blank. Okay. Oh, yes. Go where you are encouraged and empowered, okay? And, oh, yeah, here it is. Thank you, angels. Thank you for helping bring the thought back to me. The other piece that we talked about, there were lots of things we talked about, but the other piece we talked about is how it's so much easier to have misery buddies than to have joy allies. Because misery loves company. But when you are in joy, when you are in pleasure, when you are in success, when you are in balance, when you are doing good with life, it's going to trigger the fuck out of people who are not doing good and who are choosing to not be responsible about that, right? Like, it's okay if someone's not doing good, but if they're in their empowerment, they will not project their feelings and their insecurities, or they will acknowledge that and still celebrate your success, right? So start really looking at where you are surrounded by people who are like two-faced, like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. And then they go talk shit, or you could just feel the caca energy, right? It's time to like cut it out. Okay, because all it's doing is keeping you in your own little personal inside bubble. Tap the screen, show some love. Thanks, Mimi. It's keeping you in your own personal bubble of joy, but happiness multiplies when it is shared, right? We are meant to experience life with other people. We are not designed to be alone. Like literally, physiologically, we are made of mirror neurons. We feel when the weather is crappy, we feel low, like, oh my gosh, there's no sun, I don't feel my best. Or, oh my gosh, sunshine is here. If you're a sun lover like me, like I get super fucking excited when the sun comes out. It's been nothing but gray clouds for a few days, y'all. You know, so we reflect our environment, okay? The great teachers will tell you, you are the 5 people that you spend most of your time and energy with, and that's both online and in person. So who are the people that you follow? Who are the people that you subscribe to? What are the habits that you spend your time and energy on? Okay? Tap into that, ask those questions, and really get clear, get disciplined about your own shit, right? Page of Discs. Another card of discipline, okay? When I say the Page of Discs, it is the card of strengthening into our daily routines of habits, cultivating the discipline, okay? Discipline is something that is cultivated over time. Motivation is usually that first spark of inspiration. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to lose, 5 pounds so I can fit into my jeans again. I can't wait to, write this book and become a world famous author. I can't wait to go on this date with this person and see if we vibe, right? And then, you start doing the work of really showing up and consistently showing up on the days you don't want to, okay? True happiness is normalizing the mundane, seeing the magic in the everyday moment. It's not a constant dopamine fix, okay? So if you're in that mindset of constantly seeking for the next best thing, for the next best thing, for the next activity, for the next project, for the next investment, for the next thing you spend your money on, you're not in your heart. Okay? So the Page of Discs also has these 2 discs here, and it's making me think of the infinity symbol, right? Like, are you in flow or are you in stagnation? Because they're 2 sides of the same coin. Are you in flow with your life? Or are you stagnant and stuck in habits and patterns that aren't in service to you anymore? Okay, let's get one last card for the collective reading. Ace of Cups. It's time to really give yourself the love that you pour into everything and everyone around you. Okay? Self-care is non-negotiable. Write that shit on a piece of paper and Stick it on your forehead, stick it on your computer, stick it on your mirrors, all over the house, in your car. Self-care is non-negotiable. Okay? I had an incident last Friday. It was Valentine's Day, right? Was it last Friday? Was it Friday? Yeah, it was Friday. Okay, yeah. So last Friday was Valentine's Day, and it was my first Valentine's with my beloved. And he came, like, he had a really big work day, and he was supposed to be here at 7, and he didn't show up till like 7:40. Like, he communicated with me and let me know, which I really appreciated. But he showed up, and I was like, do you need like some time to shower and get dressed for the night? He's like, and he was like, oh, yeah, that would be good, but I'm so late. We should just go. I'm like, no, we're not fucking going anywhere until you go and take some time for yourself. I don't give a fuck if we're late for whatever we need to do, okay? Self-care is non-negotiable. Do not show up for other people if you're not 100% yourself. And it was a really healing moment for him and for me, because I was able to stand in my integrity and be like, yeah, we're already like 40 minutes late to this thing, and we're probably not going to go. We did end up going to the gallery I wanted to go because they closed at 8, and it would just not have worked out. But he took a shower and he took some time to do some self-care, and we had a fucking amazing night, right? It's that simple choice, right? Of like, okay, if you see your partner having a hard time, gently remind them, like, hey, honey, can you take some time to just breathe out and meditate? You know, do you need some space right now, right? And it's not personal. Right? It's called respect. It's called mutual respect, because we would want to be engaged with and talk to that way, right? We are only able to love others to the depth that we love ourselves. And so you're being asked this week, okay, whenever you get this message, this is a timeless reading, okay? This is the collective energy right now, but whenever you get this message, for those on the replay, replay shows up on YouTube on Wednesdays. I do these live on TikTok on Tuesdays. You know, this is your message to really like pour all that love back into yourself first. Okay, here's another thing that happened like last week, and I'm sharing examples from my life because, you know, I'm in this human experience with y'all, and this is how I can relate to you. I had another incident like sometime towards the beginning of last week where I was sitting there and I was having a cup of miso with some rice. It's one of my favorite things to snack on at the end of the day because it's super light on my body. So I was sitting there having a big cup of miso and some rice. And then my beloved came over just to drop off some things. He's like, oh, that looks really good. I'm like, would you like a cup of miso? He's like, yeah, that's great. So he made himself a cup of miso. And then I was like, hey, do you want some garlic with your miso, some raw garlic? He's like, yeah, that sounds great. So I got up from the dining table and I went to the kitchen and I grabbed a fresh clove of garlic and I started peeling it for him. He's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm cutting you up a fresh clove of garlic because you said yes. He's like, oh, no, I just thought you were going to scoop some out from your cup. And I literally like turned around, put my hand on his heart very gently, and I looked at him and I called him by name, eye to eye contact, called him by name, and I said, I will never serve you from my cup, only from my overflowing saucer. And then I turned around and kept cutting the garlic. But then later when I was reflecting on that incident, I realized like, holy shit, I have tapped into that self-love for myself where, yeah, it could have been easy for me to just sit at the dining table and scoop some garlic into his cup, no big deal. But I didn't. I stood in my empowerment and my integrity, and I let him know, and I set a very clear boundary without realizing that that kind of behavior will never pass and fly with me. Okay, so I'm sharing this example with you because these are like moments that just come up in life, right? Where we have opportunities to stand in our integrity and our truth and to not give from our cup, to really step into the energy of give from the overflowing saucer. And this was also the teaching of Christ. Okay, Christ consciousness is giving from that unconditional well of love. It's not sacrifice. It's not servitude. Okay, he came to cut that fucking cycle. All right, so tap into that energy of I'm going to love myself first. And when I'm operating at 100%, or even if I'm not at 100%, and I know that, I'm still going to show up in my best self for you, for my partner, for my children, for my pets, for whatever, right? So the Ace of Cups is the final message coming up to really get disciplined about where you're pouring your time and energy every single day, and making sure that you take care of yourself first. Your relationship with yourself is number one. Okay? Then your relationship with God, life source, creator, great spirit is your second relationship. And then comes the relationship with other people. Okay? If any person outside of you is your number one, honey, you're not in sovereignty and empowerment, and shit's gonna fall apart because your self-esteem and your self-worth is connected to this person. So if they're having a bad day and they're not feeling like very lovey, you'll be like, oh, they're having a bad day. They don't feel good. They don't love me. And then your self-esteem starts to drop. But when your self-esteem and your self-worth is rock solid and they're just having a wishy-washy day, it doesn't really affect you because you are able to see that they're just having a fucking human experience too. And they might need a little extra love. So this is the channel. Look, Hanged Man at the bottom of the deck. Okay, see the higher perspective. Okay, right. Quest Tita is saying gotta go with the flow. Very much resonating. Yes, you gotta be able to go with the flow of life. We have no control over life circumstances, over other people, over stuff that comes up with work. But we absolutely 100% have control over our choices and our reaction, and we're able to respond when our cup is full. We get reactive when our cup is not full because our needs are to be met, need to be met first, right? So that was the big channeled message. It is safe to be you. Good afternoon, Renee. Thank you for saying hi. It is absolutely safe to be you. Okay? So let's take a big deep breath in. I'm going to do some Reiki activation to clear your energy field and to recalibrate you into your sacred seed of sovereignty. To receive, all you have to do is say yes. And then I'm going to close this reading and open space for personal questions. Okay, so let's drop into breath. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. One more. Inhale through the nose. Feel the breath filling your lungs, expanding every cell. Exhale through the mouth. Let it all go. One more. Big, sweet, soft inhale. And exhale. Beautiful. Now to receive this Reiki clearing and healing activation, recalibrating you into your empowered, sacred, sovereign presence, simply say yes. Ikniananda shini kata ariha kiana halak sau shini haka otenia sa etenae iknina na kiti shiri tetana hika atara hisi tetana ka otena ha sau shun hikat amahae iknina na shitena haka ora na haka otashini kata amaha ikena na arakasa tetana haka ishi tetana haka otena haka sau kushini tata iana hara kata shini tetama haka otashini kata mai ina haka tetana shrita kata mai sai shini tata ikanae ila na ka shit ni hamaka ase asono emaka oe alahe. Sealing this in. Anchoring you, clear of mind, centered in heart, rooted in body, anchored in spirit, sacred, sovereign, I am presence. And this transmission is now complete. Thank you so much for being here today and catching me live. Thank you for all the hearts, the likes, the comments, the emojis, the shares. So deeply appreciated and received. If you are catching the replay on YouTube, thank you for joining. Thank you for being here. Such a blessing to connect with all of y'all. Thank you again for supporting me and this channel. So blessed to have your presence here today. Until we meet again, take care of your beautiful selves. Nourish, hydrate, breathe. And remember, you are love, here to love and to be loved.